high, the streets are wild. Ghosts and goblins running like a child. Pumpkins grinning, orange and bright. It's the perfect scene for a spooky night. Knock, knock, candy drops, witchy hats and broomstick hops. It's a monster bash madness, oh yeah. Grab your candy bags, we don't care. Dance with the skeleton, shake with the ghouls. Halloween's the night we break all the rules.
Welcome everyone to Spooky Halloween Stories, brought to you by the Underground Artist Network and Phoenix P. This is where eerie tales and playful chills come alive under the flicker of the campfire. Our stories are original and crafted from creative minds who love a good scare. But don't worry, these are frightfully fun and family-friendly, perfect for kids, parents, and anyone who loves the spirit of Halloween. So grab your blanket, pour some hot cocoa, and settle in as we spin another spine-tingling, yet perfectly PG-rated story. It's time for Spooky Halloween Stories with some music to match the mood. This is a story written by C.J. Perez. I Don't Want to Be a Vampire, written by C.J. Perez. As I sat in the shadows, listening to the laughter and joy of the children playing outside, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of envy. They spoke of the sun with such reverence, describing the warmth on their skin and the way it seemed to make everything brighter and more alive. To them, the sun was a source of endless fun and adventure. But for me, the sun had always been a distant, forbidden entity. My parents had drilled into me from a young age that the sun was dangerous, that its rays could harm my delicate skin and make me sick. They said they were protecting me, shielding me from the sun's malevolent power. The secret of my being, hidden until puberty's call, that's when they revealed the truth, the reason for it all. A developing vampire with a thirst for blood, small creatures' lives, in my hands, a flood. I heard the other children talk about swimming in the sunlight, the water droplets glistening like diamonds as they splashed and played. They spoke of running through the grass, feeling the warmth of the earth beneath their bare feet. They described the simple pleasure of lying in the sun, letting its rays soak into their skin and fill them with a sense of peace and contentment. I wanted to experience those things, to feel the sun on my face and know the joy that seemed to come so easily to everyone else. But I was a vampire, destined to live in the shadows, forever separated from the world of light and warmth. As I listened to the children's laughter fade into the distance, I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to be one of them, to know the simple pleasure of playing in the sun without fear or hesitation. And for the first time, I realized that I didn't want to be a vampire anymore. I wanted to be free to experience the world in all its brightness and beauty, to feel the sun on my skin and know that I was truly alive. I wrote this poem.
In shadows I sat while children laughed and played their joy and mirth, a poignant envy swayed. They spoke of sun with such deep reverence, its warmth on skin making life incandescent. For them, the sun, a source of endless fun. But for me, it was a distant, forbidden one. My parents warned of its dangerous power. Its rays could harm, making me wilt like a flower. They claimed protection from the sun's harsh glare, shielding me but leaving me in despair. As years went by, FOMO took its hold. Of swimming in sunlight, stories I was told. Water droplets glistened like diamonds bright as they splashed and played in the warm sunlight, running through grass, feeling earth's embrace, basking in sun's peace, a contented grace. These simple pleasures I long to know, to feel the sun's warmth let my joy overflow. But a vampire I was, in shadows confined from the world of light. Forever I was resigned. As laughter faded, a thought crossed my mind, to be like them, a simple joy to find. For the first time, a realization so clear, no longer a vampire, I wished to be near. To experience the world in its brightness and hue, to feel the sun, and know I was truly true.
Running through grass, feeling earth's embrace, basking in sun's peace, a contented grace. These simple pleasures I long to know, to feel the sun's warmth, let my joy overflow. But a vampire I was, in shadows confined, from the world of light forever I was resigned. As laughter faded, a thought crossed my mind, to be like them, a simple joy to find. For the first time, a realization so clear, no longer a vampire, I wish to be near, to experience the world in its brightness and hue, to feel and know I was truly true.
My parents kept the secret of why I had to avoid the sun and why I was being homeschooled away from me until I reached the age of puberty. That's when they could no longer hide the secret of being a vampire, because I started to develop a thirst for blood. Because I was not a mature vampire and only a developing one, the blood of small domestic creatures that surrounded our neighborhood would suffice for now. I remember a sad time when the neighborhood cat named Beverly was my first victim. As much as I tried not to bite her on the neck and suck all of Beverly's blood out, the desire to taste blood was so intense. I couldn't resist the urge. I sucked all her blood out and left her lifeless little cat body on the ground. The next evening, the kids in the neighborhood gathered around to bury Beverly's lifeless body and wonder who would do such a horrible thing to such a lovable cat. I stood in silence as I knew the answer. And of course, there was no way I could tell them the truth, as not only would our friendship end, but my vampire family could be in severe danger. I hated seeing their hurt. I didn't like that I couldn't tell my friends the truth. I thought in my head, they could help me. The naiveness of being young and thinking that no one would show any fear, that I was different. The thought that they would willingly help me, even though I was a blood-sucking creature. As much as I did not want to, I had to stay silent with my secret. I don't want to be a vampire. I don't want to be a vampire, I told myself repeatedly. I then wrote this poem.
In Shadow's embrace, I listened to the mirth of children playing, their laughter filled the earth. Their joy and freedom, a poignant envy stirred. For the sun they described, my heart yearned and burned. The sun, a source of endless fun and light. But for me, it was a distant, forbidden sight. My parents warned of its dangerous might, its rays could harm, leaving me frail and slight. They claimed protection from the sun's harsh power, shielding me. but my heart wilted like a flower. As I grew older, FOMO took its hold. Of swimming in sunlight stories I was told. Running through grass, feeling earth's warm embrace, basking in sun's peace, a contented grace. These simple pleasures I longed to know, to feel the sun's warmth, let my joy overflow. But a vampire I was, in shadows confined from the world of light. Forever I was resigned. As laughter faded, a thought crossed my mind. To be like them, a simple joy to find. For the first time, a realization so clear, no longer a vampire, I wished to be near. To experience the world in its brightness and hue, to feel the sun and know I was truly true. The secret of my being hidden until puberty's call. That's when they revealed the truth, the reason for it all. A developing vampire with a thirst for blood, small creatures' lives, in my hands, a flood. Beverly the cat, my first victim fell, the desire for blood. A story too cruel to tell. Her lifeless body on the ground did lie, as I stood in silence with a guilt-ridden sigh. The next evening, children gathered around to bury Beverly, their hearts filled with a profound sense of loss, and I, in silence, knew the truth, a secret I had to keep true. I hated seeing their hurt, their pain. I couldn't tell them it was I who was to blame. In my naiveness, I thought they'd understand and help me, despite being a blood-sucking fiend. But I had to stay silent with my secret kept. I don't want to be a vampire. I wept. Again and again I told myself this plea, a desire to be free, to live, to be me.
The next evening, children gathered around to bury Beverly, their hearts filled with a profound sense of loss, and I, in silence, knew the truth, a secret I had to keep true. I hated seeing their hurt, their pain. I couldn't tell them it was I who was to blame. In my naiveness, I thought they'd understand and help me despite being a blood-sucking fiend. But I had to stay silent, with my secret kept. I don't want to be a vampire. I wept again and again. I told myself this plea, a desire to be free, to live, to be me.
Thank you so much for listening. Let's take a quick break and we will return with more spooky Halloween stories.
The city hums, but I can't hear. Every shadow whispers fear.
Lights above, they blink and fade. This ain't the home we thought we made.
Empty streets, heavy hearts. We fell together, fell apart. What do you do when love departs? In empty streets with heavy hearts.
Welcome back from the commercial break. Let's go ahead and continue. The new Halloween story tradition. I don't want to be a vampire here on Spooky Halloween Stories. Margie, oh Margie. She was never truly my friend. even though she was part of our group. She never trusted me, always regarding me with a suspicious gaze. When we were little kids, she would tease me about my pale complexion and my peculiar demeanor. She was the first one to notice my teeth, which grew sharper as I aged. Margie was always the one asking why I wasn't in a real school, why I stayed home during the daytime, and why I could never come out to play. Her distrust for me was palpable, and she had no qualms about being harsh towards me. Despite this, I admired her, because unlike the others, her eyes were wide open. She was easily the smartest among us, perhaps the most intelligent person I've ever known. As we grew older, Margie's suspicions only intensified, and somehow, she figured out my secret. It was on a Halloween morning when everything came to a head. The kids in our group wanted to have a monster mash, believing that if we stayed out in the middle of the night and formed a circle with candles in the woods behind our houses, chanting aloud, "Bring out our Halloween friends." The Wolfman, the Mummy, zombies, and Dracula would all appear, making it a truly memorable Halloween. Little did they know, one of those monsters was already present in me, the vampire himself. Of course, Margie was smart enough to know that no monsters would actually emerge from our chant. Her true intention was to expose the one person she believed was undoubtedly a monster, me. Her plan was to keep me out long enough for me to forget that dawn was approaching. If I wasn't a vampire, I would stay out comfortably until the sun rose. But if I was indeed a creature of the night, then that Halloween morning would be my last day, and Margie was prepared to accept that consequence as long as she could keep everyone safe from the vampire she believed me to be. However, one of the boys in our group, Jesse, fell ill, forcing us to abandon our ritual and get him home well before dawn. Margie's plan had failed, but I knew she wouldn't give up so easily. She asked to meet me late one evening, and as I approached her, I noticed the strong scent of garlic emanating from her. I kept my distance, not realizing at the time the terrible effect garlic had on me. I began to feel sick, and I observed that she was wearing something around her neck. As she drew closer to me, I felt an overwhelming thirst, a thirst for blood. I fought against my urges, even though Margie was not my dearest friend. She was still a part of my group, and I admired and cared for her deeply. In truth, she wasn't wrong to be suspicious of me. I was, after all, a bloodthirsty vampire. But I loved my friends and my group, and I wanted to protect them, even if it meant protecting them from myself. I told Margie that it wasn't a good idea for us to be talking right now, that I didn't feel well, but she persisted. She began calling me an evil vampire, declaring that it was her duty to expose me, and that she would do so using her necklace of garlic. I begged her to stop, insisting that I wasn't a vampire, and even if I was, I would never harm any of them. I tried to make her understand that our group of kids was my family, including her. But my pleas fell on deaf ears, as Margie continued to press forward. For the first time in my life, I felt my blood boiling, my teeth extending into sharp fangs. I could feel my skin growing even paler from the heat of my blood coursing through my veins. My urges and my need for the taste of the crimson elixir were overwhelming me. I pleaded with her to leave, suggesting we could talk another day when I felt better. But Margie made a grave mistake. She threw the necklace of garlic towards me, hoping to destroy me, but it flew in the opposite direction, leaving her vulnerable. I closed my eyes, begging myself to let this go and leave Margie alone. But the next thing I felt was my teeth sinking into her neck, draining her of her lifeblood, leaving her lifeless body on the ground as I wept bitterly. I hated myself in that moment, screaming internally, "I don't want to be a vampire. I don't want to be a vampire. I don't want to be a vampire." I then wrote this poem.
In the wake of my deed, a lifeless form lies still, A friend once admired, now forever chill. The monster within, I can no longer hide. Yet, the love in my heart, it refuses to subside. Torn between the darkness and the light I yearn, the humanity I crave for which I burn. A vampire's curse, a fate I wish to shun, but the thirst within me grows with each setting sun. I gaze upon her face, pale and cold as stone, a grim reminder I'm a monster, all alone. Yet my heart aches with sorrow deep and true, a testament to the love I never knew. I don't want to be the creature that I am, to cause more pain, to be a spectre, a sham. But how do I stop what's naturally in me? This conflict within, a ceaseless raging sea. As days go by, the thirst grows ever strong, the fear of hurting more, it haunts me like a song. A desperate plea within my heart does dwell, to break this curse, to escape this living hell.
I gaze upon her face, pale and cold as stone, a grim reminder I'm a monster, all alone. Yet my heart aches with sorrow, deep and true, a testament to the love I never knew. I don't want to be creature than I am, to cause more pain, to be a spectre, a sham. But how do I stop what's naturally in me? This conflict within, a ceaseless raging sea. As days go by, the thirst grows ever strong. The fear of hurting more, it haunts me like a song. A desperate plea within my heart does dwell, to break this curse, to escape this living hell.
Shock spread through our town after Margie's death, especially among our close-knit group of friends. Devastated, they proposed never going out into the dark again, preferring to hide away in fear rather than risk meeting a similar fate. Speculation of a murderer in our community grew, breeding distrust and anxiety that crippled us into submission, preventing us from living life to the fullest. Standing there, I bore the weight of the truth. I was responsible for Margie's death. She died trying to protect them from me. Looking at my grieving friends, I realized it was only a matter of time before they too became my victims. This was something I couldn't live with, and my parents knew it. In the following days, as our community recovered from the tragedy, my parents made a life-altering decision. We would leave the United States and return to Transylvania, where we would be among our kind, and human casualties were minimized due to alternative ways of satisfying our bloodthirsty urges. I announced my departure to my friends, thanking them for the memories. Despite the tragedy of losing Margie, I knew they would grow up to be healthy, prosperous young adults with the chance to pursue their dreams. With a smile, laughter, and tears, I said goodbye. Upon arriving in Transylvania, I quickly met others like me, but never truly fit in. I had more in common with my human friends I left behind, and I missed them dearly. I did what was necessary to assimilate with the young vampires and satisfy my urges, feeding on the flocks of warm-blooded sheep at our disposal. Though I hated it, I knew it was better than sinking my teeth into another human. As I grew into a full-fledged adult vampire, I married a vampire named Evelyn, and we had children. Though I didn't want to contribute to the vampire population, I knew I had to abide by the expectations of Transylvanian life. I pretended to be happy and lived traditionally, despite my dissatisfaction with continuing the legacy of bloodsuckers. I found joy in watching my children grow and did my best to raise them with my values. My primary rule was simple: never put your teeth in another human being. Surprisingly, they never questioned this rule, even though their mother opposed it. Whenever I saw my children play, I thought back to the happiest time of my life, when I was an innocent vampire kid among innocent human children. We laughed, cried, and had fun. I knew I would never experience that feeling again, but I had the memories. Every Halloween, I asked my wife and children to respect my need for quiet as I locked myself in the basement and played a song that reminded me of Halloween's past with my human friends. Despite life's hardships and tough choices, and even as Halloween began to feel more like an annoyance than a joy, I knew I could always rely on my memories to make me feel good. Sometimes all it takes is a little song to transport you back to a simpler time. I hope you all have a happy Halloween and make as many new memories as you can. Happy Halloween.
Lights low, streets glow. Costumes on, let's go. Pumpkin smiles, a spooky scene back when we were kings and queens. Trick or treat, bag in hand, running wild, no big plan. Ooh, the night was ours to take. Halloween night, we dance, oh yeah. Candy in hand, a sugar trance. No worries, no cares, just a chance to do the Halloween night dance. Ghosts and witches, capes that fly, superheroes in the sky. Every door a sweet surprise. Laughter loud, we never cry. Jack-o'-lanterns lit the way, magic in the air would stay. Ooh, the fun would never fade. Halloween night, we dance, oh yeah. Candy in hand, a sugar trance. No worries, no cares, just a chance to do the Halloween night dance.
This has been Spooky Halloween Stories. Remember, you can enjoy the season all year round, right here, whenever you are in the mood for a spooky short story. We will see you next time.
Moon is high, the streets are wild. Ghosts and goblins running like a child. Pumpkins grinning, orange and bright. It's the perfect scene for a spooky night. Knock, break all the rules. Spiders crawling webs so tight, zombies grooving in the pale moonlight. Dracula's cape is flying free. He's got moves like you never see. Knock, knock, candy drops. Werewolves howling, don't you stop. It's a monster bash, madness, oh yeah. Grab your candy bags, we don't care. Dance with the skeletons, shake with the ghouls. Halloween's the night we break all the rules.